4:30 is 4:35. We don't want to have people waiting too long. What up? What up? What's good, Coop? How you doing, sir?
What up, fam? What
Um,
up?
oh man, we good, man. Happy Wednesday, if that's a thing.
It is when we go live.
I'm excited, man. We got a whole lot of new music coming. We got this Super Bowl performance coming. I don't know if you saw that Kanye West Hollywood Unlocked interview. It's pretty good. And all right, this is what I will say about it. And shout out to the people over at Hollywood Unlocked. Jason Lee acknowledged the fact that he appreciated the fact that Kanye West was going to independent black media, black owned media, to do an interview. He kind of called out people like Puff and stuff who don't do that. And Kanye was like, no, man, we're not going to go there, whatever. But I respect the fact that he did that. And I hope that that sentiment continues because one of the things about Kanye saying that he wants to control his own narrative, and I think a lot of other artists and entertainers need to do that, but go to the platforms that are going to show you that level of respect where you don't have to be taken out of context. And with that being said, we reached out to Sky Zoo and we got some real dope stuff coming. So we're trying to work that out now. But I love that. I want to continue that trend of people of the culture getting with other people of the culture to do their interviews and say what they got to say. Salute to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat coming in.
We don't need no help up in here, Mike. That's what I've been saying.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need no help.
One of the things that Kanye did say, and it's interesting when Kanye steps outside and, he's outside now, new music starts popping
It's all
up.
the way outside.
Yeah. New music starts popping up. So, Pusha T, a clip of one of his songs came out there because they debuted it, and I think it was in Paris at a fashion show. I forget which one.
Paris, Italy, somewhere.
2 Chainz has announced that what I'm saying, he has his album coming. I think this might be coming possibly this Friday or next Friday because he already released the album cover. DeCarlo says, Mike, looks like we might get a Busta Rhymes versus Eminem. Yes, we're going to get into that. And shout out to DeCarlo too, man. I wanted to get some feedback from you personally, sir. I know you purchased one of the trivia games. I'm probably going to be sending you an email about that, so be on the lookout. This is what we're going to cover today. The Game is dropping a new album, and he's mad that he was left off of the top 50, as he should, of Ebro's list, T.I.'s list, and Funk Flex list. I don't know how you name 50 MCs and leave the Game out. We're going to talk about that. I think we'll hit that first. We definitely going to talk about this new Pusha T. And we're going to talk about this whole Eminem and Busta versus that seems like it's set up to take motion. What are your thoughts on that real quick before we... Well, no, I'm not going to even go there. Are there any things that you want to talk about real quick before we get into this game shit?
Hold on, where are we going? We getting into this game shit? The Pusha T joint?
No, let's talk about the Pusha T thing because I think that'll be quick, man. What were your thoughts about the new Pusha T song?
Banger.
It was exciting.
Okay, so Mike, in my life, that I've been a hip hop fan when I was a young teen and an adolescent and a young man, Nas was my favorite MC. But as a grown man, post 25, that's my favorite MC and the guy that I think is the best MC. Like, he's been the best MC in the game, in my opinion, since Hell Hath No Fury. Bar for bar as an MC.
Okay.
Bar for bar as an MC since Hell Hath No Fury has dropped. I don't think there's anybody better than Pusha T. That's just my stake on it.
Okay.
So obviously, like, I'm attached to a horse in the race. That's my favorite MC of my adulthood. So when I hear him make fire shit, I don't even know how to contextualize how fire it is. Because the only other person that I prefer to hear over him is Nas in terms of what I personally like. So what say you about the song? Because I think you give more objective analysis.
I like the song. Me and Pusha T, we share a birthday, so I'm very partial to him as well. I'm a big fan. I love Daytona. But I want to ask you something as a follow-up just based off of everything you just said. Him and Nas, I mean, if you want to talk about content-wise, are polar opposites, right? What do you say? Because I saw on According to Hip Hop's page, I saw a lot of people, and a lot of people in the chat might say, the same thing. They're tired of the dope talk, right? What do you say to people who don't hold Pusha as high as certain MCs because of the lack of content, the lack of versatility in his lyrical content?
So you and I had this conversation behind the scenes. There are a few things that I want to say that. First of all, even though personally, probably my second or third favorite, because I was thinking about Scarface the whole time while I was having this conversation with you, like about this too, because I love Face the way that I love those guys too. Because those are the guys that it's like, I don't care where they're at in their careers or what they're dropping. Like I'm running to grab it when it goes out. That's how they make me feel. But to the content thing, the first thing that I'm going to submit to you is that I don't have him where I have Nas, Rakim, Big, or Jay. I have him in the next tier down below that. A lot of that has to do with content, so I'm objective. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because the only person that I have up there that high, the content-wise talks the way Pusha talks, is obviously Jay, and he hasn't done it as great as Jay diversified-wise. In terms of diversity.
Yeah, people in the chat are saying similar things. Nas the GOAT says his content never changes. Chris over here says Coop and Mike Push is a one-trick pony. Daryl Baxter says it's true. He's not diverse, but he's still fire. All right. DeCarlo, let me get to his comment. He said, I'll take Push over literally every artist in the mainstream right now. I don't care if he talks about crack on the whole album.
So the next thing that I was about to submit to you is that, well, he's not the guy that you should have problems with this subject matter, because when he's saying it, Mike, and it's part of the reason why I do like him so much. Not like him so much, I love him so much as an MC, Mike. Oh, well, a lot of this shit real and doesn't happen when he talking. And so it resonates different in Mike. Some of the things that he says resonates differently in terms of how he talks about it. Like, Mike, when Hell Hath No Fury starts off, Mike, his last verse on the first song, he says, a 411 Cuban helped us weather the storm. That's not regular dope boy talk. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he does something on that level that I've only seen Cool G Rap and Jay do at that level.
He's a specialist.
So when you're saying he's a one-trick pony, that's kind of like, well, you understand that what he does, that like the other guys that have done it, if you would say better or at the same level, they're considered to be legendary and heralded for it. So you can't knock him for it and herald them at the same time. Now, can we? We can't herald Cool G Rap and Jay and then punish Push, can we?
Charborough says Benny and Conway never switch up their content and nobody complains about them. I think
I was going to go there next in terms of who he's inspired, because I was actually going to go Gibbs Benny Conway specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what everybody's saying, and I think that we kind of offline when we spoke about this yesterday, where at least it kind of shed some light in my mind as a person that covers hip hop and as a fan of hip hop. It feels like we're in the era of there being so many lanes, but in that era of lanes, it's like everybody's a specialist. You know what I'm saying? So in the playlist era or the streaming era, digital era, whatever we want to call it, people aren't as diverse as they were in the CD era, where we used to expect a range from MCs on an album, right? Like even if you look at It's Dark and Hell Is Hot, the record label made sure that there was going to be a How's It Going Down on there. You know what I'm saying? Like there was going to be some range and balance to DMX's debut. I mean, same thing with Biggie. Whoever you would name that was like the big dog then. And I think that foundation was set earlier. But, people like Pac took it to that next level where it's like, I'm going to show you vulnerability. I'm going to show you, the hardcore shit. I'm going to show you everything. And I think now, hip-hop artists, just the way music is assimilated and listened to now, don't have to do any of that. If I'm a dope boy rapper, I'm rapping about dope. If I'm a trap rapper, I'm rapping about, whatever, but we're going with this sound.
But let's slow down for a second. If that's what I'm saying, no, he's not that. He really did that. That's different.
Okay.
You feel me? Like his homies are really, he got homies that's really locked up doing major time behind this stuff. They were really under surveillance by the feds.
Understood.
Their first video shoot, Mike, they were under surveillance at their first video shoot. They were under surveillance at the grinding video shoot. That's different.
What about
Most
for
of
the
these
hip
guys
hop
out here,
listener?
no, Mike, but I just want to say about 98% of these guys that's talking the way that Pusha T talks, they don't know none of that stuff. They'll say it, they don't know none of that stuff.
But I don't think that's what we're talking about. And I'm not talking about, because again, I'm a fan. I think that,
what I'm saying
I
is
think,
that
I believe.
No, when you're talking about the dope boy talk, well, let's hear it from the guy, because part of why I like him so much is like, well, let's hear it from the guy that actually knows what he's talking about. You feel me? And that's why I keep bringing it up. This is the guy that knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. Listen,
he's talking about it.
I believe in specialists. Like, one of my favorite basketball players was Dennis Rodman. He gonna go out there and get rebounds. Yeah, I believe in the notion of do what you do well and do it to the max. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, I think that in an overall spectrum, it's hard to sit there and say that, you know, let's just say in a vacuum, he doesn't have the versatility as a DMX or something, right? But he has the longevity over that, if we want to go there. But like you said, I think Jay is probably the best comparison, because Jay has talked that talk, but he also has made Give It To Me. He's also made, go ahead.
No, so I've always said this. The biggest comp for Push is Cool G Rap.
Right.
It's like Jay is more of an outlier. You and I had this conversation behind the scenes. There's never been an upper echelon MC as versatile as Jay in terms of what he's willing to do on records with other people.
Well, that's true.
His projects. So Jay's not an accurate comp, because even in his own stratosphere of all the all-time great MCs, he is the most versatile in terms of, well, he'll jump on that record, and Rakim and Nas and KRS-One probably not jumping on that record, but Jay will jump on that record. You get what I'm saying?
But I will say this about Pusha T. Sonically, I think that we get caught up in him as a lyricist and what he's able to do on the mic. We forget that he has rhymed over some of these tricky Neptune tracks and made them shits hardcore. A lot, and I know you don't like the happy shit, but some of the shit that would be happy if somebody else had it, him and Malice were able to make some hardcore shit. I think Ain't Ya comes to mind. They used that in like one of those dance movies, and these guys were spitting with Ed Lava and
Like the Popeyes beat with Cameron. That's happy as hell, but they crushed it. They crushed it. But here's what I'm saying. I'm glad you brought up Tupac, because here's one of the things that I want to say, and here's why I brought up Cool G Rap in reference to Pusha T. He's more in that vein from that era of MCs too, Mike. If you really look at that era, your greatest MCs are specialists. Kane is the smooth operator. KRS-One is the teacher. Slick Rick is the storyteller. Rakim is the lyricist. LL is the star. They're all technically specialists, Mike.
Yeah.
Cool G Rap is the street guy.
Man Nan says something. I want to kind of address this. He says, does Pusha have a song that that's catered, I guess he meant, it says care, that's catered to females outside of the trap? I doubt it. But he's still good.
He really doesn't do that. But Mike, I brought up Darkest Before Dawn when he did records like MPA and Sunshine with Jill Scott, and he almost got no buzz, no love for it. You get what I'm saying? It's like, so when he stepped into that realm and done those things, it hasn't been as well received. But I'm glad you brought up Tupac, because Mike, if you really look at the history of hip hop, well, that's when the great specialists stop and the versatility starts becoming mandatory. Pac is the guy that changed all that. All those guys before are specialists. Rakim is still a lyrical technician, tactician, and specialist, Mike. KRS-One is still an educator and teacher. All these guys have specialties. And he's more in that vein. What you find when Tupac comes around, because Tupac is the first guy that you really saw that would make a record for the ladies that slapped hard and could get played on the radio and women would love him. But he also had street records that guys respected. He's the one that really brought the versatility and the vulnerability that you're talking about into the game for upper echelon MCs. Pusha's style precedes that in terms of what he does.
Terminator 2 says that Pusha T's nowhere near G-Rap. I beg to differ. I think
G-Rap don't have no Daytona.
Yeah, I
love G-Rap.
I think he's right there, man. I think stylistically, if you want to talk about on a technical flow level, I get you. But bar for bar, man, Pusha's up there.
Mike, I mean, I want people to understand this. Like, actually, lyrically, briefly for a moment, before Rakim dropped Follow the Leader, he's a better lyricist than Rakim. So understand when you're saying, oh, well, Cool G Rap's a better lyricist. Well, he's a better lyricist than like almost everybody who ever lived, with the exception of like 3 or 4 guys, Mike. So, and even with those guys, questionable. So
DeCarlo brought up LL Cool J, and shots rang out, said LL Cool J and Kane were first on the versatility. All right, I feel what y'all are saying. And I think that we're talking about a lot of different things, right? I think when you think about Kane and LL, obviously you got the knowledge of self with Kane, and you have his ability to, cater to women. Whereas I think with L, people are talking about catering to women and, rocking the party. But with Pop, he was able to give you something else. This was like, Pac was like a combination of NWA, LL Cool J, Kane, and Public Enemy wrapped in one man.
Mike, let's have some real revisionist history.
Mm-hmm.
That versatility about Kane and LL that people are talking about, like glowingly right now, is exactly what was part of their demise.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as versatile as you think. They actually got knocked for it because they're like, what is this I Need Love shit? What is this smooth opera? So when we're saying it now, like, oh, these guys were so versatile. No. That shit was not okay back then. It wasn't okay.
It kind of went against
the ladies love Kane and LL. So if you want to talk about it on that level, but here's what I'm trying to tell you. They wasn't making records that slapped like Tupac for the ladies. Not like that. Like I Need Love, Mike. Like I Need Love is like a dope record, Mike. But ladies don't love that shit the way they love Here and Keep Your Head Up by Tupac. They don't. You feel me?
Yeah.
Not the same thing. You're touching a different chord.
Keep Your Head Up touches a whole different chord.
Great record. Right. Yeah. So the versatility that I'm talking about at a high level being pulled off, that's what I mean. It's not just that he's doing it. No, he's pulling it off.
I don't think there's anybody, especially in that era, and maybe even since, who is diverse enough to do a Keep Your Head Up, I Get Around, Dear Mama, Shed So Many Tears. I mean, it's
Mike,
even the song with MC Breed, like that's just.
Mike, I always tell people, I Get Around and Keep Your Head Up are on the same album. That lets you know what the range is like.
Yeah, but he was criticized for being hypocritical. You know what I'm saying, in those senses. But honestly, that's range. And when you start talking about somebody like a Tupac or Nas or even Jay, and then you start thinking about lyrical content when it comes to a Pusha, as great as he is, I think that the biggest difference here is the versatility. And I think that you're right to put him in a class B, and a great class B.
It's not class B. It's more like class A minus. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because listen, the guys we talking about, that's the A plus class. That ain't just the guys graduating with the perfect GPAs. Then the dudes with like all the sashes and all the honors and stuff too. Like he still got like a super high GPA. He just don't have like all that magna cum laude hanging off of him the way those guys do. Very few guys are like that.
Well, is there anybody in this era that is versatile like that? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like those guys are like Scarface album says, emeritus. Like those guys are emeritus status. He's not that, but he's the next best thing.
I think in this era, and we talked about this offline too, I think that J. Cole's probably the most versatile. I mean, in a traditional sense, where he can give you all of those things. He can give you introspectiveness. He can give you records, that women appreciate. He can go out there and do bangers, and he's super active. I think, as much as I love Kendrick, and I know I give Kendrick a lot of shit for not, coming out with a record over the past 5 years, but when he does drop albums, I look at them like I'm in awe of how quality it is when it comes out. But I also hear people saying that they don't rock with Kendrick like that. And I think that Kendrick taps into a specific type of listener where most people, I think the average listener can tap into J. Cole easier than they could tap into Kendrick. I don't know if it's a voice thing or what. Or if it's a flow thing, because a lot of the times Kendrick's just hitting you with a bunch of words coming at you really fast. Cole will rap. He'll rap too. He's not out here doing anything with these tricks and schemes. He's rapping.
So stylistically speaking, in terms of what they do with their styles, Kendrick is more versatile with his style than Cole is with his. But the overall versatility, Mike, I would probably have to agree with you. And some of that also has to do with the consistent willingness to touch on different things. Like when Kendrick is putting something together, he's putting it together like a piece of art. So it's going to have a consistency to it. Cole has shown a range of being able to go all around the place on other people's projects, on his project, and talk about an array of things in a comfortable way that's attractive to the listener. That is the definition of versatility. And it's kind of funny. That may be something like when you said that, I was like, Mike, that's what he needs to lean on more. I think maybe he leans on his lyricism too much, and he might need to rely on his versatility more, because he is wildly versatile, Mike. Because when you said Cole's name out, it's like I had nobody for you other than Kendrick, and I agreed with you about Cole. And when I thought to myself that, it's like, man, well, maybe he just needs to get more versatile on us more often. Like, show it. Not like he has to be more versatile. That was the wrong way of saying it. Yeah. But he needs to showcase that versatility more, because he is the best at it from his era.
Split Spark says that Kendrick Lamar's features gave a thumbs down. I think that's an interesting assessment to make, because for somebody who heralds themselves as being on top of the game, you know, he doesn't do a lot of features. And even when we think about the features that he has done in the past, it's kind of come up short sometimes. I mean, like the Goosebumps feature with Travis Scott, do you not feel like that's a little bit underwhelming?
I mean, I know people love Control, and they're probably going to say that's his best guest appearance. Yeah. But to be honest with you, Mike, his guest appearance that rings most to me is actually an R&B song, and that's How Many Drinks with Miguel. That's his best guest appearance to me, actually, because I saw range, versatility, and I saw him come out of his shell and be a star a little bit at the same time, too. Like, I'm looking for all the things when you're talking about somebody who's great. Control is what he's great at. On How Many Drinks, it's like he had to do all the little things. You know what I'm saying? And he did them well. So that's his favorite guest appearance of mine, actually.
I think features are a testament to your versatility as well. And the fact that he's low on that. DeCarlo says fucking Problems. Okay.
Maybe. No, he smashed Problems. Problems was
dope. Did. And he has the most memorable part on there.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I'm not even a Drake fan like that. I always thought Drake had the better verse. Which is interesting. I mean, because, you know, I mean, because to me,
we could call it a wash.
To be perfectly clear, though, to me, they're not even in the same stratosphere when we talk about MC to MC and spitting or whatever. They're not even in the same stratosphere. So the fact that Drake may possibly have a better verse than him on there is kind of telling me. I mean, I think they were all kind of even across the board. I like ASAP.
It was one of those even records, Mike, where everybody kind of got off really well. So I think it's about who you like the most.
ASAP's interesting, man, because ASAP can get on a song with anybody and be comfortable and chill and swagged out to the point where he's just gelling with the song. No one ever sitting there being like, yo, he killed ASAP. ASAP flows with it.
Yeah. He rocks the joint appropriately. Like he Redman and Eminem had a song once. It's like What the Beat Tell Me to Do. Like that's ASAP. ASAP does what the beat tell him to do almost all the time. So he's consistent at that. And he doesn't get enough credit for how talented he is as a lyricist, you know?
What was that? I liked his verse on Mattress when him and Ferg was going back and forth. It was the remix. He was like, did backflips on the mattress, did mad shit on the mattress, and where the magic happens on the mattress, two fat chicks on the mattress. Anyway, it was fine. It's just the rhyme scheme was crazy. No. And it's so effortless with him, too.
That's another thing about ASAP, too. You want to know what ASAP is? ASAP is dope, but he has fun on the mic, and you can tell.
Exactly. You know, and it's like he's just going with it, man. And it's like he's not out here trying too hard like some people do.
So Mike, let's kind of like get back to this so we can get to the next thing.
I was thinking of going towards the game after that, but what were you going to say?
Right. So just to kind of sum this up, like Pusha is still all-time great. Mm-hmm. It's just he's probably not going to end up in greatest of all-time conversations.
Well, someone just brought up your song. Diesel 101 says Kendrick's verse on Nostalgia is better than Pusha T's verse on Nostalgia.
That is the definition of a wash. And that's not true. Because here's the thing. That's what I'm talking about how you got to kind of know what Pusha's saying on that verse, too. 26 years of selling Johnson & Johnson. I started off as a baby face monster. Like, he's telling you how he came up in this. He's even breaking it down, like the shit that's going on with the locker and the jacket and the chains he's wearing in high school. He's telling you his thing. But here's how he sets Kendrick up for Kendrick to win. Mike, when he goes, Simon Says, he talking about Simon, Suge Knight. Simon Says, Simon, red, blood on your diamond till you dying, dead. Yeah, he's setting Kendrick up. That's what the Simon Says is for. He's doing a double entendre because he's letting you know it's a West Coast guy on the track. He's bringing up Suge Knight.
Yeah, he got set up on the city too. And now that we're talking about Kendrick features, it seems like his stronger features came earlier in his career where he was hungry and had something to prove.
Mike, I want to say one more thing. Why do you think Pusha on the verse is saying like Doughboy to Trey? If he rides, throwing punches any room. If he cries, he cries. He's bringing up boys in the hood. That's what West Coast. Kendrick's on the song. That's why I told you it's a wash, because he set Kendrick up. Kendrick didn't set him up. He just went in. Kendrick set him up and did his thing.
Did you ever see that, speaking of Suge Knight, did you ever see that Suge Knight documentary?
No.
Oh, man, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting.
Finding out something you didn't know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, nothing in particular per se, but it's like when you start putting all the pieces and everything together, he's asked all the tough questions on there. He's asked, because obviously people feel like he has something to do with Pop. And I find it very interesting, though, even him being in that car and him getting shot. No one ever talks about the fact that he got shot, too. It was reported, but no one ever really talks about the fact that he got shot. Like he said, how would I benefit from this? He said, you know what, something I did hear him say on there, and I don't know, I mean, this is what he said in the documentary. I don't know if it's true or not, but I didn't know that Jimmy Iovine came to him and was like, you got you one now. They're worth more dead than alive, or something like that. After he found out, that Pac was murdered. So, or wasn't going to make it. And, yeah, it's a lot in there. You should check it out. I mean, a lot of stuff that we should talk about offline. But, yeah, it's interesting stuff, man. And I put it this way. I think that obviously Suge went about things the way that he went about them. But I think in this industry of monsters, he's not the monster that people depict him out to be solely. The media has a very interesting way of painting certain, and what T.O. said. He said, they create the villains and the heroes. Mm-hmm. So, but it's interesting to hear his side. And
I mean, okay, Mike. Some people relish the roles more than others too. But you're right. Some people relish the roles more than others on both sides. Mm-hmm. I don't really have too much to say, Mike. I got to go back to Cali.
Yeah, no. Again, it's just on the surface. I'm just talking more so about the record industry, period.
I don't know, Mike. As a record industry exec, I mean, he did successfully run one of the greatest runs that we've ever seen, and he's a pretty smart and savvy guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not accident. Like, things like that don't happen by accident. And
honestly, even after the fact, right, he was still able to get artists. Like, you remember when that whole run happened when Left Eye came over there, Corrupt came over there.
The Nina album, Mike.
Yeah, they were on 106 and Park and everything. Like, he had P.D. Pablo. If he was such a crazed man, there would be no reason for people to even,
Yeah. Why is Nas still going to Cali to cook it with Suge? Like, after everything that had happened, right?
I mean, he gave quick opportunities to, mix on All Eyes on Me while he was dealing with his record label shit and, dealing with stuff with the label and paying him how he needed to pay him because, he was under contract. Just looking out. I mean, just even the whole getting Dre out of NWA was looking out anyway. Off top. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is it's like when you look at it, it's like that's what I mean. It's like some people relish it more. It's like, well, look at how he got Dre. It's like, well, was he a villain then?
Well, I mean, Christopher, exactly. I mean, you got to be.
He's a villain when it's not in your favor.
Right. Christopher Moore says Suge is a monster. We hate him. I mean, I think the interesting part about that too is we all love Pop, But who was Pac closest to in the end?
Well, hold on.
You know what I mean?
That's a little different
Is
because
it? Him and Suge was close.
Mike, he got that man out of prison.
He did. Sorry about that, guys.
When somebody gets you out of prison, Mike, out of prison.
Yeah.
Did somebody else get Pac out of prison?
No.
Weren't there other people with power and money like Suge, and more so at the time? Like I said, he's only a villain when it's not in your favor.
Obviously, he handled things aggressively.
But he's only a villain when it's not in your favor. You know.
Yeah.
I got out of jail. We don't get all eyes on me and Machiavelli, maybe, Mike.
No, that's real. Terminator 2 says Pac was closest to the Outlaws. Yeah, I mean, but those are like the little homies. Like, he looked at Suge as a big homie. Like you said, he got him out.
What you do for your man? You know, honestly, do you ride for your man to get you out of prison? Man, get you out of prison. Do you ride?
Of course. And you know the other thing though, and that I kind of got from the documentary too, him and Pac had a similar work ethic in the way that they viewed putting records out. He's like, look, I'll get you all the studio time you need. Pac's like, cool, let's do it. So I think that just the way their minds operated, I think that they just kind of link. You know how certain personalities link? Mm-hmm. I think they had linking personalities. Mm-hmm. And
a lot of people went to see Pac in jail.
Yeah.
Right. Who he ended up linking with?
Yeah.
Don't we love Pac?
Yeah.
Is Pac considered to be a great mind and thinker?
Yeah. It's
yeah.
You know, again, you know, people are talking about the bullying in the chat, but I mean, making somebody walk to Brooklyn for cheesecake is bullying too. There's a lot of bullying in the industry.
Mike, you want to know how many ways people get strong-armed in this business? People be out here getting robbed without a gun in this industry.
And I think with Suge, it's just one of those things that was just more apparent than others. And
Suge, like, I beat your ass, I'll hang you off a roof. Like what, nigga? Like,
yeah. Again, I'm not co-signing any of that stuff saying that I agree with any of it. I just think that for him, we got to see everything where a lot of other people is kind of more so you don't see it until you see it.
Hey Mike, what's the adage? There's 6 million ways to die, 6 million ways to live too. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how he was living with it.
That's real. All right. Well, on that note, since we talk about the West Coast, man, Game posted on his social media because he released a song with Kanye. What was that, a week or two ago? So he's working with Hit Boy, and he posted T.I.'s list, his top 50 list. He said, "Oh man, Ebro, Funk Flex, and Trouble Man," which is T.I. 31. He said, "I ain't forgot about these lists. Drillmatic coming soon. Hurricane Game lives. Y'all should have just threw my baby mama in there too."
That was great.
Listen, man. All right.
That was great because he tagged them on it too.
So, all right. So T.I.'s list was looking like. Let me look at this thing. I hope y'all got it on y'all screen. He had Tupac at number 1, Jay-Z at 2, Biggie, Snoop, Kanye, Drake, Eminem, Nas, DMX, Lil Wayne. And T.I., then you got Ice Cube, Andre 3000, 50 Cent. Oh, that whole 50 Cent, Lauryn Hill, LL, Rakim is at 17. Kendrick Lamar at 18. Is that Cameron? Cameron, 19. Jada at 20. I'm just going to stop there. I want to go to Ebro's list real quick. J Big, Nas, Andre 3000 is number 4. KRS-One, Kendrick. J. Cole is at number 7. Tupac is at 8. Rakim is at 9. Eminem is at 10.
None of that.
Eminem is at 10. Prodigy at 11. Raekwon at 12. Ghostface at 13. Big Pun 14. Mos Def 15. These lists are so weird. Big L 17. Who is this at 16? Oh, Jadakiss. The writing was kind of funky. Big L 17, Redman 18, Jizza 19, Black Thought 20. I'll stop there for him, and let me go to Flex real quick.
He likes lyricists. That is evident. He loves lyricists.
He does, but
that's a lyricist
list.
Yeah,
that is a lyricist list.
The order is a little distorted, Mike. There was a point that I liked Big L as an MC and a lyricist more than Jay. That's how talented Big L was. Keep going.
Okay, let me go to Flex real quick. This is an odd list too. He got Jay-Z as number 1, Andre 3000 at 2, and Nas at 3. Rakim at 4. He has Drake at 5 with the asterisk questionable pen, it says.
Why is he at 5? Didn't we have a show about this? It's very problematic.
We did. And then he put Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick all in
you
order.
might as well put in parentheses, and Baby dropped off $50,000 large as I wrote this list. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't even put Wayne higher, but hey, whatever.
Wayne's better than Drake. Tired of explaining this. Why we keep talking about Drake over Wayne like he's better than Wayne? He's not better than Wayne. It's not.
Okay. Pusha
This
T
year
at
is
8.
evidence. This year is evidence of that. Wayne had a better year doing guest appearances.
No, you're right. Pusha T at 8. Ghostface is 47 on Flex's list. What did
problematic.
What did Wu-Tang do to them? Do to him?
Hey, Mike, you want to know what I thought about today? And it's funny that you just brought up Ghost briefly. Can I say this right quick?
Go ahead.
I don't think any all-time great MC has had a bigger coming out party than his coming out party on the Purple Tape, Mike. If you think about it, he's not on Return to the 36 Chambers or to Cal. Raekwon is the only clan member that's on both of those projects. You don't hear him from the Can It Be All So Simple, I think got released like March or something in 94. Mike, you don't hear from him for almost 15 months as an MC. Never as an MC that wasn't all-time greater or really checked for like that, come back that you hadn't heard from for a year, Mike, and be that fucking great.
Hey man, since the face been revealed, game got real. Radio been gassing niggas, my imposters claiming they ill. I'm the inventor.
Mike, when I remember, like, you want to know what made me a fan? Ice Water. That verse on Ice Water, I was like, oh no. I was like, we should have been hearing from him. Check out the rap kingpin, the Black Jesus. I know a few niggas sniff coke and cause seizures. I was like, who is this guy? He's crazy. They haven't been putting his shit out. Like
we could talk about Ghost forever and ever, but out of 50 MCs and 3, I guess we would say, yeah, come on, man. 3 credible individuals in this culture. Regardless of what people think about Ebro or difference of opinions or whatever, Ebro's been in this game for a very long time, and he has a very big voice in this culture. Same thing with Flex. And, you know, we just got finished talking about what T.I. means to the culture.
I think Ebro's more objective than Flex.
I think so, too.
Yeah, like Ebro's list is kind of like, no, this is my list. Like, not influence. Like, when I heard
but see, Ebro's from Cali. That's the other part about him not having game on there that I don't understand either.
Right, but when he put Pun at 14 and L at 17, I'm like, oh no, this is his list. So he's giving you his list. You got Pun at 14, L at 17. It's like somebody that's doing that, that's their list.
What's people's problem with Game, man? What do you think? Like, why is Game left off of these lists? I mean, I know Game's using it for momentum, for Drillmatic, but Game has dropped quality album after quality album after quality album. He doesn't need this point in his career to prove anything. I'm sure the album's going to be hard, but why do you think he's left off these lists?
The only viable reason, Mike, and there's only one viable reason.
What's that?
And it's not any of like that other stuff that you're talking about, like, because I think that's kind of inherent, and we already know that. You know, just in terms of his disposition and demeanor, and just his unwillingness to play the game, kind of like his idol Nas.
Yeah.
And
guys didn't even have Nas at number 1, probably for similar reasons.
Well, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll do that some other time. But what I will say is that when you put Game next to a great lyricist, he oftentimes, more often than not, doesn't come out on top. Let me go to one of his best projects and a personal favorite of mine, Mike, On Jesus Piece. I'm going to go to 2 songs specifically. I'm going to go to Pray with J. Cole and Name Me King with Pusha T. Mike, he's great on those records, but he doesn't come off as great lyrically as those guys, and I think he might be getting docked for that, because when you put him next to somebody like a Pusha T or a J. Cole or a Nas or Mike, even an Eminem on his first album, or even 50 in his prime on How We Do, it hasn't always been the best results. Because, Mike, we both think Game is better than 50, but the history that we have of them on wax, 50 getting busy on there. Okay. Now, Game is younger and not as good, and 50's in his prime, but we don't even consider 50 to be all-time great, and he's not even getting off against him. And so that's one thing to say, because, Mike, he checks every other box.
I think, and it's interesting you say this, because I agree with what you're saying, and it's shedding a little bit of light as to why, because his catalog speaks for itself. His catalog, like if you want to go down this list, his catalog trumps just about everybody's, you know what I'm saying, on the list. Mike, I would say at least 90%, right?
Mike, him and Rick Ross, like only people with better catalogs are icons.
Yes, like Diesel 101 said, Game never kills top tier lyricists. And yes, I think that the same thing that has helped him amass such a great catalog has also, I don't want to say exposed, but revealed what he looks like next to some of these people who gave him that kind of help.
Right.
I mean, even on this new song with Kanye. I mean, Kanye went on there and showed out.
No, but here's also what I will say this too. He does get a lot of people's best shot. Like Cole's verse on Pray. Oh, I think that's one of the 5 best verses of Cole's career and probably my personal favorite. You know what I'm saying? Like that verse is like that. Like I thought that might have been the best rap verse I heard that year.
Johnson Daily Sports says Flex List is a living list. Yes, it is. I think that is important to note. Mike, Ghostface still shouldn't be at 47.
I don't list of people who not here, Mike. We can do a top 10 of people who not here.
But I'm saying Ghostface still shouldn't be at 47.
Never.
Again, I get the notion of being able to have to hold your own, and I think that's a very strong point in being an artist in hip hop. But for whatever reason, we do not apply that to Andre 3000.
No, Mike, I was about to give you the flip side of the game, because here's the thing. Mike, all of his best lyrical performances, Mike, are on records where he's by himself. And what you find with his greatest solo records is that his last verse is usually his best verse. And so I'm going to say this. He's a momentum rapper, as in the more wind that you give him, the better that he gets. So the reason that he's not coming off as great on these features is because he's a guy that needs more wind to get the greatest out of him. Like I'm going to tell you 2 of my favorite tracks of his, Mike. House of Pain off LAX. And Mike, you know the other one because I talk about it all the time. Scream on him off The Doctor's Advocate. Mike, the last 2 verses, the first 2 verses on both of those songs are masterful. But Mike, on that 3rd verse, he just goes for his and gets totally busy. So he's an old school artist in that way where he's actually better by his damn self.
Oh, yeah.
People respect him by his damn self to hear those records and know what I'm talking about. Because if they did, they would hear the guy that is capable of being on the records with these guys, not just by relationship, but by skill.
No, definitely. I mean, there's not a lot of guys out there that have a documentary, a Doctor's Advocate, and a Jesus piece in their catalog.
LAX is fire too. LAX is fire too, Mike.
LAX is fire too.
Diaries where he's going back and forth with Ray. Like, you're not a regular MC if Raekwon's trading bars with you. Do you understand that? You're not a regular MC. Raekwon trades bars with Nas and Ghostface.
Listen, I think the Game, even with everything we just said, he has to be top 25, right?
Mike, do you think he's better than Kane or Cool G Rap?
No.
Would you rank him higher because of catalog?
I think their impact is where I would make the decision when it comes to those 3.
Okay, so he's going to struggle to get in the top 25, but maybe 25 to 30. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the guys who have been more impactful. Yeah. There's that golden era. So we got Slick Rick, LL, Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, KRS-One, Chuck D. That's 7 MCs, Mike.
Hold on, let's do it like this. Let's do it like this. You got your I got the list up that he posted, right?
Right.
Whose list should I go with? You want me to go with Ebro's list? Because I think that's probably the strongest list out of the 50, right?
Ebro's the strongest historian probably of
Okay.
everybody.
We'll go
Yeah.
with Ebro's list. I'm just going to rattle off some people and you tell me if, you know what I'm saying, you got them over game or not.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. We'll do it just like that.
Okay. We got Jay-Z.
Yep.
Biggie.
Yep.
Nas.
Yeah.
Andre 3000's disqualified, right? I think we've already established that.
We'll be doing a top 5 of Southern MCs real soon, man.
Okay, we are. All right. KRS-One. Yes. Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
J. Cole.
No, Mike, slide Kendrick over to the side for a second.
Well, all right, we'll slide Kendrick over to the side because we might need to analyze that a little bit.
I'll have a conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 4 right there, right? J. Cole.
No, I can't do that in clear conscience.
Okay.
Because Game's catalog and Cole's impact hasn't been like that I'm about to like take Game out. I'm not taking Cole over Game because Game's catalog is too strong. So we're gonna put Cole right over there with Kendrick right quick.
Okay. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's the point that I'm making specifically with those two guys in relationship to Game. Yep.
All right, Tupac, Rakim, Eminem.
Ooh, fascinating, Mike. Because I do find Eminem to be a better MC, but I do not think that the catalog matches up. We're gonna slide him right over there with Kendrick and Cole.
Okay. All right. Let me write this down. All right.
Slide
so that's 6 right now where we're at. So Prodigy. Prodigy's better
than Game.
Okay. Raekwon.
Yes.
Yeah. Ghostface. All right. Big Pun.
Mike, I can't. No,
I can't do that either.
But Mike, but Pun is also the caliber MC that Nas, Raekwon, and Jadakiss are on a song with him, and he still has the best verse. That's who Pun is.
Yeah, he is. But the catalog is just, not enough.
Mike, he's just not here to claim his all-time great status. If he would have been here, we'd be having conversations about him in the top 10, 20.
Oh, definitely. Most Def.
Easy.
Most Def.
Most Def? No, I can't do that.
Okay.
I can't do that.
Jadakiss.
He got black on both sides and don't have anything great other than black on both sides.
Jadakiss. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's 10. Big L, no, same issues as, Pun.
Same issue as Pun, but better MC, just like Pun. Like Pun and L, yeah, they better than Game. But what Game catalog look like? You can't disrespect the catalog.
Yeah, we
because
can't.
then that disrespect guys like Face.
That's the strongest thing, yeah. All right, Redman. Yep.
Yeah.
Jizza.
Fascinating.
That is fascinating. Obviously, Jizz is the better.
Jizz is just too, here's the thing with that. Jizz is better, but only because what he's great at, Mike, he's up there at what he's great at. He's a top 10 lyricist. He's a top 10 lyricist. Jizz is a top 10 lyricist, like, ever.
That's 12 right there. Black Thought.
Same 13. Thing with Jizza. Catalog not there, but, I mean, that's a top 5 lyricist, Mike.
Yeah. I think Lauren falls into the, lack of material.
Yes,
Method Man. Method Man's better.
Method Man's better, but that's a little fascinating about that catalog conversation. But Method Man's impact is heavy.
Yeah, and Method Man got Wu-Tang albums and shit too, and the Redman stuff. All right, Fabulous. No. I'm not putting Fabulous over him.
Because he's not better. He doesn't have a better catalog. I don't think he's a better MC either, actually, bar for bar. He's a better punchline artist, but not bar for bar.
Pusha T.
No.
Pusha T's not better than the Game?
Oh, yeah, Pusha T is. I mean, I meant for, Pusha T.
I'm about to say. All right, that's 15. Big Daddy Kane. Yes. Ludacris? No.
Game.
I got Game over Luda. Ooh, this one's interesting. Beanie Siegel.
Slide Siegel over.
Okay. All right. Drake?
Game's better than Drake to me. What say you?
Yeah, I say Game's better than Drake. LL Cool J is better. Busta Rhymes.
Fascinating, but Busta.
I got Busta, but yeah.
I got Busta too.
Remy Ma, no. T.I. I got T.I. over.
I got T.I., but barely.
It's 19 right there. What say you with Cameron?
I got Game over Cameron. I'll take Game over Cameron about the catalog.
I don't know about that, man. I'm indifferent on that one. Cam's
You wanna slide
impact
Cam
is
over?
crazy.
No, I fuck with Cam, but I think Game's catalog is just superior to Cam's, and that's what that is about. Cam's movement was obviously bigger. If you want to go impact, is that what you're thinking about? You thinking about Cam's movement?
I would put Cam over Game, and that's 20 for me. You got 19 right now. Okay.
No, I can't give you Cam in clear conscience.
Okay, we'll stay 19. Nicki. No. Okay. Lil Wayne.
Yes.
He's better than Game. Okay, that's 20. Snoop Dogg.
He made Doggy Style.
He's better. Okay. Big Boy from Outkast.
He made Doggy Style. Big Boy from Outkast. Mike, I don't know. Objectively speaking, I don't know.
I don't know.
Objectively speaking, I don't know. I would slide him over with Kendrick and Cole. Who else is?
So we talk about definitive ones. All right. So Slick Rick.
Yes.
Okay. That's 22. Ice Cube. Yes.
Yes.
That's 23. E40.
Yeah, he's better than 40.
Okay. Common.
Not as important, but he's better.
Yeah.
Ooh, slide him.
I think Common's better than the Game.
You know, I'm gonna give him that because B is something special. He's got B in his pocket. Go ahead.
We got Meek Mill. I think the Game's better than Meek Mill. I think the Game's better than Wale. I think that the Lupe fiasco is interesting, but if we're talking about like catalog and all those things, I'm gonna give that one to the Game. Chuck D. I'm not gonna put the Game over Chuck D.
Can't do that in clear conscience.
Nah. Bun B. I think the Game's better than Bun.
Ooh, Mike, Bun don't have no solo material for me to dispute that outside of Trill, really.
Killer Mike, I got love for Killer Mike, but I think that Game's better than that.
Yeah, I do too.
I would put Game over Styles P as well.
That's an interesting conversation, Mike.
We're at 25 right now, by the way. I'm putting Game over Styles P. Me personally, but if somebody said otherwise, I wouldn't be mad.
Might be a wash for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be a
50 Cent. I think Game outlasted him in that way, but yeah, I think initially 50 was better, but not anymore.
No, 50. I mean, 50 had about like a 2-year peak, Mike. Where but the totality of it, Game.
And then Kanye West, I got Kanye West over. So that's 26 right there. So it does look like, however we slice it, he's falling in that 30 range.
Mike and Cool G Rap's name didn't get mentioned. That's why I said 25 to 30, and that's why I brought up Kane and G Rap. Right? Yeah.
People are saying, like, are y'all talking lyrically or just catalog? They're saying that we're letting the catalog cloud our minds. But my thing is, and just my personal opinion, when we talking about lists, I think catalog trumps most things because
you're an artist.
A lot of people can go out there and put together words and be super nice with it. And we've seen it, but they don't have the music to boot.
Right.
And
Mike,
I think that that's what you remember by the most is your music.
You are. So let's talk about the greatest living artist right quick, Stevie Wonder. When you go back, you want to know why he's the greatest living artist, Mike? Why, Mike? Because when you go into his catalog of music, it says so.
He's not the greatest singer.
He's not the greatest.
He's a great singer. But you know what I mean.
He's the greatest living artist. You want to know why? Because his catalog says so.
Yep.
The music that he made and put out to be consumed on albums
over periods of time. That's the other part about it too. Like
it is standing the test of time because the stuff that he made in 1972 and 74 and 76 and 79 and 81 holds up today.
Yo, the people are killing it about
understating the catalog. Y'all are understating the catalog.
People are killing me about Styles P. They said Styles P over the Game. I mean,
that's not, Mike, that's hard.
That's hard, man.
Hard to pick Game over Styles. I can't. Like I said, I call it a wash at best because I'm giving Styles all the MC points and I'm giving Game the catalog points. I can wash it, but I can't say Game clear over Styles.
I mean, people saying I'm bugging with some of my opinions, but it's like, look, some of these artists that we're naming don't have a documentary, a doctor's advocate, and a Jesus piece. And that's
Mike,
not
LAX is
mentioning
dope
some other
too.
stuff. Like Game has a really, really good catalog, man. And I don't know if it's because he's not really covered in the media like that to be recognized for it. But his catalog is tough, man.
No, he's
It's
tough,
what it
Mike.
is. But
No, he's tough, Mike. He's tough to beat
the
on the
media gives
catalog.
false narratives a lot, you know, and we
Right.
try to be here to be a balance, man. Like you would think that, you know, David Ortiz, you know, didn't
See,
have
this is what I'm saying.
PEDs or something, you know?
Game is one of those guys that has enough notoriety, but not enough fans that people will check for what he's putting out, but maybe not hear the album like they should. And what I'm trying to tell people is that, oh, his best shit is on his albums. Like whatever he puts out as a single, I don't even check for. That's not even what I'm looking for from Game's album, because that's not where he gonna snap at. Mike,
And I ain't even talking about.
are hard too, Mike.
I was about to
Gang
say.
Bang anyway.
I was
In
just
the
about to
ghetto with
say
Nas.
that. I ain't even bring up the
Going with
documentary documentary
Joint with Anderson
2.5.
.Paak, gang signs out the window.
Listen, man, those two albums that came out a week apart, them shits is loaded.
Mike, Dollar and a Dream.
Dollar in the Dream's great.
Mike, you want to talk about rapping? Mike, that's what I'm talking about, how he's a momentum rapper, Mike. That first verse is hard. That third verse is legendary because the more he raps, the better he gets. Not too many guys
300 bars and running, right?
Mike, not too many guys are like that, where it's like the more bars they spit, the better they get. It's usually the inverse in this culture. He's talented.
Oh, somebody said put Game in a verses with Jada and watch what happens. Jada's top tier. Put him in a verses with Styles. Y'all want to play that game and watch what happens.
Now, Mike,
Since we want to play that game.
That's why I would call it a wash, because if they going live with their material, Styles is not fading Game at all, even a little bit, Mike. He's going to have to pull out all of the Locks' best shit, all of his best shit, and he's still going to lose.
Yeah, if y'all want to look at it like that, let's look at it like that. Like, look, all the people y'all naming, put them on a stage with Game and put their 20 joints against Game's 20 joints.
Mike, the only people beating Game in the verses are Icons and Rick Ross.
And Rick Ross. Rick Ross is an icon.
Rick Ross is an icon, yeah.
Yes.
He's legendary. I don't know if he's an icon, because when I'm talking icon, I am talking about Big, Pop, Nas, Jay, Scarface, Rakim, KRS-One, Icon, Chuck D, Icon, and Ice Cube. Like icon. The only people beating him clearly are icons. Because Mike, I love Tip. I prefer Tip. I'm not so certain that Tip would beat Game. You feel me?
I'm not certain either. I think Tip is a better MC.
Great. That would be great to see them go at it.
That's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen.
For me, both of them have very comparable catalogs. They're sitting on about 2 classics with about 3 or 4 other really, really great albums.
I think the edge that T.I. would have over the Game is the features and the collaborations. He has a lot of collaborations that Game just doesn't have. People don't feature Game on records that much. But he gets a lot of features, you know, within. But, you know, T.I. was able to spread himself around from, you know, not to say that Blurred Lines or anything like that would get played. But he has those
things. Not against Game. Not against Game. You can't play that against Game. That's why this versus things is so... Like, the styles matter so much because, like, it's like, how about this? If T.I. was even up against Busta Rhymes, he might be able to get away with playing Blurred Lines because Busta's probably going to play the Janet record or the Mariah record. Game ain't got no records like that. That shit ain't about to fly in that environment. You feel me?
Well, we got 200 people in the room, so we might as well go ahead and go to this versus conversation. Yeah, you had something else to say?
To the page since you're in the room.
Oh, yeah. Everybody in the room, subscribe to the page. Subscribe to According to Hip Hop on YouTube. Hit the bell icon so you know when we're going live. And sure, yeah, go over to the website, too, accordingtohiphop.com. Check it out. You know, we stay on top of the stories. But
yearbook on the way. Yearbook on the way.
Yearbook is on the way, completing everything right now. Look, this is straight up from our website, right?
What did we say? Because you know I don't be checking.
This is what we said. Dr. Dre put it out there like, look, who wants it with Eminem in a versus? Which to me, that sounds like a call to action. Whatever. I guess he's trying to put Eminem's name in the pool. And Swiss Beat says, Buster, let's go. Listen, this is how I take this. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
No, I want you to go first.
Okay. When Dr. Dre puts the call out there, I mean, sounds like this is what it is. And I think that for people to be interested to the level that we need or is needed to be interested, it would take Dr. Dre to call for an Eminem versus. And for Swiss Beats to respond, Busta, sounds like this is something that's in the works. Not to mention that it's coming so close to the Super Bowl halftime show. I think it works all around for everyone on paper. We're going to get to the actual songs and stuff. But, I mean, just reading people's comments, man, about this matchup, a lot of the people don't want to see Eminem in the verses. And I don't mean it in a good way. A lot of people saying, you know, I'm not interested. Also, I found it interesting, too, the clip that Dr. Dre played, which was one of those challenges where Eminem was rapping fast.
People were making a bunch of comments, Mike. I can usually never hear it pop, and I can hear boop, 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 boop.
Yeah. We're going to get to the comments. But Eminem was rapping fast in the clip that Dr. Dre posted. Who raps fast? Busta. I think this is set in motion. And like you said, both have aftermath relationships. Yes. I think that this is the safest way to do it without making it official, just to check the temperature and see if this is what people want to see. I don't really think this is what people want to see. 131 Moon Noel says, I don't want to see Eminem in the verses. These are live comments here. Mm-hmm. Kenya David said, I like to see him in the verses so he can get exposed. Listen, that's what I said. I want to see it happen.
Okay.
And I want to see it happen with Busta.
Okay.
Because I was sitting there listening to like Put Your Hands on My Eyes Can See and Flavor in Your Ear. I'm like, what's Eminem gonna play after this? Like,
so that's the thing that makes Busta so dangerous, and it's not just against Eminem, it's against everybody. He's got scene-stealing charisma, personality, flow, guest appearances, and records to match. Like, he has all of those things. He's a problem for anybody. He's not just a problem for him. Like, let's not talk about Busta like Busta just a problem for him. Busta a problem for anybody on the other side of the stage that night, unless somebody got 20 Dr. Dre beats like Snoop Dogg did.
All right. Let me rewind, because they've been pumping, and I agree with this because I said this like a year or so ago. But they've spent a year pumping Busta up to the point like nobody can beat Busta. Like what Fat Joe was saying, like, everybody's scared of Busta, blah, blah, blah. So they pump him up to this point. So now Marshall swoops in. You know what I mean? No, this is what I think.
It's not being pumped up, though. I mean, all these
Busta's Busta. We know that. But it's all about Busta's Busta, but it's all about what you play, right? And this is what I'll say right here on this microphone. I know a whole bunch of people be listening to what we're saying. If Busta does do this with Eminem, I predict he's going to go soft on him. They have relationships together. He's not going to go there to beat Eminem. He's not. Just like what somebody in this chat says, they wanted to see it happen so the M could get exposed. They're not going to allow Eminem to sit here and get exposed. And the fact that Busta is the name mentioned, I feel like the fight's fixed.
Dr. Dre is involved, Mike.
Dr. Dre is involved.
Who would you say the most powerful person in hip-hop was?
Dr. Dre. And you know what? Just like how we said that he is Jimmy Iovine's most valuable asset, who is Dr. Dre's most valuable asset? Correct. He ain't going down. This fight is fixed.
Correct.
Busta's not going to hit him with all kind of heat. You're going to hear all them songs that you're going to be like, man, why did Busta play this?
Busta can't really afford to do that.
It's Eminem. He can. Because people think Eminem's the GOAT anyway. Or at least the media does.
White media?
Yes, white-owned media does.
Oh, white-owned media. Yeah, we ain't talking about them. Don't nobody be thinking about them?
But I'm just
nobody
saying.
Think about them?
I think Busta will play to that audience. I'm sorry. Listen, I hope Busta proves me wrong. and goes out there and really bring the heat. But I fear that if he does do this versus with Eminem, he's gonna go light on him, man.
Mike, you want to know what? If everything remains raw, doesn't get played, then I will agree with that. Like something like that. Get what I'm saying? If you don't play some of those records, then we gonna have a problem. Yeah, because he got that. He got some of everything. That's why he's a problem.
Yeah.
And
He got
so
some
what?
of everything.
So what?
I think I was
legitimize
listening
it?
to the Annie Up remix. I'm like, what does M play after this?
He got some of everything. He's a problem.
Yeah.
It's not even about the MC that he is. It's because, how about this, Mike? You want to talk about versatility? There you go. This guy does everything well and at a high level.
Especially on a performance level.
Mike, specifically. That's why I said, Mike, before we got into any rap stuff, I brought up his personality and charisma because this is live.
I mean, just even with his catalog of music, I don't even think he's able to throw this fight, really. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm saying, Mike, he can't do that. That's what I'm saying. The way his catalog is designed, it's
he's
like,
going to have to really work to throw this.
You'd have to work the throw, and we would see it, and you can't afford that because of how we feel about you. Like, he is somebody in this community that has his credibility intact the way that it was when he stepped in. Not a lot of guys can say that. He's not about to play with his credibility this late. Not for Dre, not for him.
Because, you know, like you said, if we don't hear everything remains raw, that's a problem. You should just roll out the red carpet. You will move a target. I got you open like supermarkets.
Yo, there's only 5 years left.
Why niggas are scared to death? They breathe their last breath. Yeah, listen.
My life goes on.
So, all right. Let's play devil's advocate here. Let's just say Eminem does say yes to it. Well, Eminem, if Dre put Eminem out there, Eminem's already said yes, right? Yes, and Busta cannot not say yes at this point because he's already said so much about verses. So, if this happens, hypothetically, what Eminem songs are you bringing to a versus if you're Eminem?
Mike, I believe we had a show where we asked Eminem fans to list some songs, and they did a really, really good job of giving us and throwing us some bangers. But here's the problem. All those songs that they named, and that's what I was saying, is like, well, is that going to resonate in this format the way some of this stuff is about to resonate? Because, Mike, when Woo-Ha come on, it's going down.
What do you play to respond to Woo-Ha?
Huh? That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I mean about Busta's personality and characters. That Busta's personality and character is live and on record, and he has classic records like that. Woo-Ha, Mike. Even if he wants to tone it down and go with "It's a Party" by Sade. That's what I'm talking about. Where it's like, no, you got places to go.
I don't think he's gonna play that, but he should.
He can. That's what I'm saying. He got stuff.
I think the Eminem response.
Scenario remixes. What is M gonna do with those verses? Specifically, those 2 verses. Flavor in Your Scenario remix. Don't nobody got nothing for that.
Terminator 2 says, Mike D, do a mock. Y'all don't want me to pick 20 Eminem songs. Speaking of which, we're gonna do our mock verses with rap roundtable. That got moved to next Monday, so it's not gonna be this Friday. So that's gonna be next Monday. We'll keep y'all updated on that too. But okay, you said Woo-Ha. I'm thinking I would respond if I'm Eminem with The Real Slim Shady. Is that?
It's very problematic, Mike.
But I'm just saying. I mean, obviously Woo-Ha is the better record, but sonically, I think that, you know, stage side by side, that would be a response.
See, but that's what I'm saying. There's so many things he has to come up with responses for. Put your hands where my eyes can see.
Woo! No. Now there's no response for that.
Mike, give me some more.
Hit you with no delay into what you saying, yo. Selling with the 9 milli, what the dilly, yo. Have you seen when he does that, where he gets real low and then gets real high, and then what if he does like the scenario verse or something?
Well, Mike, one of the beautiful things about that record, and here's the Busta, the great MC and lyricist on that record, is that his flow and delivery is intact. But Mike, lyrically and bar wise, he picked the rhyme cadence and he took it for 16 bars on both verses. Do you know how hard that is? Mike, you used to rhyme. You do know how hard that is. This guy's great. Like, some of his greatness gets understated on records like Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See, where he literally takes a flow pattern and style and can carry it and make it hot to you.
All the Eminem fans in the room, tell us what Eminem songs he should play in the verses. I see a bunch of songs for Busta popping up. I see Purple Pills here.
Give it to me.
Hi, my name is.
I know what you want. What's it gonna be? What does he have for those? Those are epic bangers, Mike. Those are high level bangers. Busta Rhymes got Janet Jackson and Mariah Carey to sing hooks on rap songs.
I like Tear the Roof Off too.
I love Tear the Roof Off, Mike. The show might start with Tear the Roof Off. That's getting played inherently.
Dangerous. Like you said, the first album, he could go woo-ha, song with Janae, Everything Remains Raw. Boom.
Mike,
That's
Ill
3
Vibe with
records.
Q-Tip is classic.
Ill Vibe with Q-Tip is classic, but he's probably not going to go there. You know, one of my favorite songs on the coming is Abandoned Ship.
Niggas talk shit, then abandon shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I see Criminal. I see The Way I Am. I see Infinite. Oh, that's not happening. Come on, guys. Scary Movie. I love that record, but that's not happening. Till I Collapse. Cleaning My Closet. Guilty Conscience. Role Model. Soldier. Patiently Waiting. Those are good ones.
Ooh, Mike, Patiently Waiting.
Patiently. Because you know if M does this, 50's coming.
Nice play.
Yeah.
Nice
I like Patiently Waiting. That's a good one.
And the other one, Mike, the one that you like more, Don't Push Me.
I like Don't Push Me.
Mm-hmm. That's him and Lloyd Banks and 50. They all got busy on that.
These are my ideas. Yeah.
It's my sweat and tears.
I think that's the better verse, honestly. I mean, I like that song much more than Patiently Waiting.
It's the better verse in terms of passion. The Patiently Waiting verse is more intricately written.
Yeah.
On Patiently Waiting, the Don't Push Me verse is his passion as an MC. That's why you like it more, because you rarely hear him passionate like that.
He's going to have to go dead wrong. These are good answers, guys. We got Renegade. We got Renegade, Dead Wrong. What was another one I saw?
No, this is Heat.
Obviously forgot about Dre.
This is all Heat. All these records, almost like 90% of these records are Heat, so he's got stuff.
The Way I Am, Guilty Conscience. I think Guilty Conscience, the subject matter of it, unless he brings Dr. Dre out or something, I don't know how well it'll play in today's time, man. He said a lot of crazy stuff on there.
Dre better not come out for Eminem when I didn't see him come out for Snoop Dogg. That better not happen. We're gonna have a whole show about that if that happens.
I mean, you know that's
I ain't trying to hear that shit.
I think him and Eminem have more of a working relationship than him and Snoop do.
Mike, specifically his relationship to Dr. Dre being the most powerful person in hip hop, like you say. Do you know where that started, Mike? It started with this song called Deep Cover, this album called The Chronic, and this other album that came after it called Doggy Style. Who's the author of those albums? So he better not bring Eminem. He better not come out on stage with Eminem when Snoop Dogg went solo mission and he didn't pop up and all the records you produced was getting played. No. We're gonna say something.
I mean, let's keep it all the way a buck. And they covered this in no. They covered this in the Suge Knight documentary too. Dr. Dre kind of left Snoop Dogg high and dry for Dogfather. He did. He came back around, but you know he never left Eminem. He's been working with Eminem from the beginning to even now. Like, they've never had a point where, you know, Dre wasn't working with Eminem. So I think they have a closer working relationship. And Snoop has been able to branch out, you know, sometimes just by total circumstance and work with other people. And we still have not gotten Snoop and Dr. Dre back together to work on a Snoop effort, have we?
Imagine on the blue carpet treatment featuring
No,
D'Angelo.
I mean a whole album.
That'll never happen again. They made Doggy Style.
Why?
Because they made Doggy Style. What do you need to do?
Cool.
Chronic and Doggy Style, Mike. What do you want?
No. I just want I don't want them to make Doggy Style. Snoop makes music. We see Dre in the studio all the time.
No, I don't want to see it again because they can't do that again.
They don't have to. You're one of those people. If you know you can't match the Zenith, you don't want to see it at all. Mike, I heard somebody on the radio. I think
twice already. They did it twice. They made the Chronic and Doggy Style in back-to-back years, Mike. No, I don't care. Like, that's enough because that doesn't happen ever.
That's fine. I mean, again, I don't want it to be
a whole project of Dr. Dre and Snoop. Like, really, you want to hear Dre and Snoop for a whole project?
Sure, why not?
Listen to Doggy Style and the Chronic.
I mean, a new one, because Snoop is still making music. If both of those guys retired, yes, but I'm not expecting, you know, Snoop and Dre collaboration in their 50s to be what Doggy Style and the Chronic was. All I'm saying, Coop, if he's still all I'm saying, Coop, is if he's still producing Eminem albums, why are we still getting Snoop albums? So with that being said,
no, that's a valid question.
Yeah, he's still producing for Eminem.
But he's producing tracks for Eminem. He's not doing Eminem's whole album. That's what I'm saying. He's
executive producing these albums.
You want Dr. Dre to executive produce a Snoop Dogg album?
Why not? He's doing it for Eminem.
Mike, because if he does that, it is going to be the largest pressure and expectations in the history of hip hop because they made the Chronic and Doggy Style.
So what you're saying is there are no expectations for Eminem's efforts.
Mike, did Dr. Dre create anything comparable with Eminem that resembles the Chronic or Doggy Style? Even resembles.
Well, you know my answer to that, but you know.
Right, so that would be where that lies. It's much easier and less pressure to do a project with Eminem every time he rolls out, no matter how big he is, because it doesn't speak to the culture that he comes from the way the Chronic and Doggy Style does. Like about how great those albums are. I knew after Doggy Style, I was like, this shit ain't never happening again. Like when you started hearing all this stuff, I was like, oh, this never happening again.
LP says, because Dr. Dre gets paid off of Eminem, and that could be a thing too, because Eminem's technically his artist still, or partner, however they work that out. And Snoop's not, so maybe that's what it is.
The verse on Forever is pretty dope too. I was just thinking about that.
What's that?
The verse on Forever, Eminem's verse?
Yeah, I think DeCarlo brought that up earlier, but you know, what kills that is the scenario verse, if we want to go there.
Oh no, I didn't say he was winning, Mike. I'm just throwing stuff out. Like, but hold on, some of the stuff they named, The Way I Am, Guilty Conscience, Dead Wrong, Till I Collapse, Cleaning Out My Closet, Renegade, Forever, Lose Yourself. No, this is all,
you know, it's all legitimate stuff.
It's legit. This is legit playlist stuff. That's what I'm saying.
Is it greatest MC all time stuff? No.
Forgot about Dre. Like, no, he's got stuff like, how many records is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Sound like about 10.
Yeah, like we about halfway there on his list, Mike. I mean, he's got stuff.
Well, I think it's gonna happen. Because
Rabbit Run, Mike, like he should. How about this? His rapping ass and how everybody be getting on him about rapping too much. Well, you want to know this time where he rapping too much, but it's like fire. Rabbit Run, Mike.
Well,
he should do Rabbit Run if you want to get in that zone. That because Rabbit Run's the type of track you can do against somebody about Buster, about the type of stuff Buster's about to throw at you.
Well, speaking of Rabbit Run and speaking of Eminem and that era of Eminem, I was reading our comments when we were talking about who was the best rapper alive for each year or whatever, and you were fighting for Scarface and I was fighting for Eminem in 2002. Somebody brought up the notion that Eminem put out 8 Mile in that year too. Rabbit Run, Lose Yourself, and yeah, I got to give it to M, man. 2002 was Eminem.
Mike, I refuse to do a list where we're naming the greatest MC from 1985 on. We get to 2002, and at no point Scarface and Cool G Rap is on the list, but Eminem is finding himself on the list. I'm not doing that shit. Y'all can do that if you want to. Like, you can do it if you want to. I'm not doing that.
Are you doing that because it's Eminem specifically?
Scarface made The Fix in 2002, and it's Scarface.
I understand that, and The Fix is strong. I like The Fix more than...
The Fix is better than both of those projects put together.
The Fix is better than the Eminem Show? Maybe not, but you know, it is. It is. But you got to admit,
great of a soundtrack. It's got some records, but it's uneven.
2002 is probably Eminem's greatest year. In my opinion, he made his best album. He made his most notable piece of work in 8 Mile. I mean, people still judge his legacy on the character of B-Rabbit, like they actually saw him out there battling people.
I don't know how we got to a place where we are talking about the greatest MC of the year in 2002, and you are the one defending Eminem.
I'm trying to be balanced here, you know.
No. I appreciate the balance. Face Mob.
I'm not mad at that. You know, again, I fought for Eminem on that, and you know, I wanted to reiterate some of the things that we actually, well, not reiterate, but bring up some of the things that we left out in that conversation. 8 Mile was a very big movie. The Eminem Show was a very huge album, and honestly, I think his most quality piece of work from beginning to end. And again, Lose Yourself is his best song. Run Rabbit Run, one of his better songs. So 2002 was the Eminem year. It set up that next year that we gave to 50 Cent, did it not?
Scarface got 5 mics.
He did. And in my personal opinion, I think it was the Well, nah, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy might have been the last legit 5 mics that the source gave, but
They got
I,
5 mics? I'd been
yeah.
stopped checking by the
But
time
yeah,
somebody
people stopped checking about 2010. But in that era, yeah, the Fix might have been the last, real legit.
5 mic
Yeah,
album. Yeah, so
yeah.
that's legit 5 mic album. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna see what happens in this versus thing. But I mean, I'm making a prediction that that's probably gonna happen because there's nobody else out there for either artist, and they've been pumping Busta up, rightfully so, for the past year. Now people understand that yeah, Busta is a threat in that way, and everybody knows about Eminem and what he is and what he brings to the table. They just got to set a date at this point.
Right. As soon as Dr. Dre said something, I was like, so this is happening. He's the most powerful person in hip hop. Like you said, as soon as he said something, I'm like, so this is happening officially now.
You know the interesting part about that too?
But that's good for Aftermath, Mike. You understand? That's good for Aftermath.
That's good for Aftermath. Everything that's going on with the Super Bowl, they need this. And like I said before, they needed to hear it from Dre because if Eminem went out there and said it, people don't care about it as much as if Dre said it. We need...
Again, you're making a relationship between Eminem and the person that you're calling the most powerful person in hip hop. So of course it's not going to resonate the same. He's the most powerful person in hip hop. Eminem is not.
You know the interesting part about that too is the fact that he meaning Dr. Dre, Snoop and them was saying that he just wasn't interested in verses or anything like that. At least that's what they told Puffy. When Puff was trying to do a verses with Dre, and Dre was like,
that was Dr. Dre's way of being nice and saying,
you're not on my level.
Smoke. You don't want this smoke. You don't want this kind of smoke. This is the Up in Smoke tour. Up on your ass. You don't want this smoke.
I'm going to say it like this, man. I think I've said it before. There's nobody that wants a versus with Dr. Dre. Period.
Mike, you don't want to be on stage. Mike, you don't want to be on stage and have to deal with what's about to come through the speakers.
Nah.
Because your shit not gonna hit like that.
Nah.
And this is live.
He can play. He can run a handicap on somebody and be like, "Look, I'm just gonna use shit from '88 to '94."
Mike, he can beat you with that though, because he's got 2 NWA albums, a DOC album, and the Chronic and Doggy Style. He can beat you with that. Like he can beat you right there.
I was just listening to the DOC
like the formula,
album.
and it's funky enough off the DOC's album today.
I was just listening to DOC's album like yesterday.
No, it's not, Mike. That's crazy. I was listening to DOC's album last week.
Yeah, I was listening to it yesterday, actually. It's hard, man. I mean, the production is up. Well, I mean, I'm working on a project.
Yeah.
I'm working on a project where I'm doing a lot of research, right? And I don't want to give away the project. But so much of this scene that I'm doing research about comes from NWA. Whether it comes from Ren, whether it comes from the DOC, whether it sonically comes from Dre, it's just phenomenal to think of all of the things that spun off from this individual group. You know what I mean?
Right. Now also keep in mind too, DOC from Texas, if memory serves.
He is. Yeah. But I'm just talking about the stuff that he made, like, you know what I'm saying, with those guys and what markets were gravitating towards what NWA was doing. I mean, I know we were strongly influenced by the West Coast out here.
I was about to say, Mike, so I'm going to tell you what NWA really did. Because, Mike, I know what you're researching, and I've been there multiple times, and it's not the type of place that you really like to be, much like Compton, Mike. And so there goes your connection.
It's struggle connections, right?
It's a struggle connection. For people who were fans of NWA when NWA come out, if you will go to certain hoods that are not on the West Coast, that are in the South, you can see who loves NWA. But, Mike, when you go to those areas, you're going to find out that it's comparable. And that's where the relationship is built inherently from people that you don't know through music. Because even though NWA is talking that way about what's going on in LA, that area that you're researching, oh, Mike, I know, I got family from there. Oh, the same shit going on.
And honestly, I think it begins and ends with the production too, which goes to Dre. I think I remember David Banner saying one time that, you know, out west and down south, they just listen to music in their cars. And it's different than on the East Coast where they listening through headphones because people ain't driving. So when people producing music from the South or the West Coast, they producing music to bump in the cars.
Right.
And Dre has everything to do with that.
But hold on. But where is his inspiration coming from? that would be Public Enemy and the
Yeah.
Hit Squad.
Yeah.
Mike, which is our first real anthem music.
No, definitely.
Our first real anthem music is the Hit Squad and Public Enemy. That's where Dre pulled from.
Mm-hmm.
He just applied that West Coast aesthetic where we listen to that shit in the car. Right.
And honestly, I think that he got that aesthetic from them on a hip hop level. But when you talk about the bass lines from like, Ohio musicians and, or just, Parliament Funkadelic and Boosie and stuff like that, he was able to kind of fuse those things. And I would imagine, and I think I've heard him say this in interviews before too, like he would listen to like some of those late old school shows where on the radio and they would play some of these records.
I think that started happening around the DOC's album. When you listen to Straight Outta Compton production wise, you can hear the Boogie Down Productions Public Enemy influence.
Right.
Production wise. When you hear No One Can Do It Better and Niggas for Life, you can hear that he's getting inspired by other things. By the time the Chronic is coming out, you can tell that all the old school shit is just taking hold and he's mastered it and been practicing. You can tell that he's been practicing, Mike, on the Chronic. Like, because the Chronic sounds so much better than Niggas for Life production-wise. I want people to understand it's like a year and some change later.
That's crazy.
Niggas for Life is wonderfully produced, and it sounds like even next level to that. So he was in there every fucking day.
Well, I've heard Q-Tip say this, and, him and Dre are really close, and they got this picture that they posted like a while back on Instagram where I think Dre is holding up Straight Outta Compton or something, and Q-Tips is holding up the Low End Theory vinyl, and they got
Niggas for Life. That's the same year.
But I think he was holding up Straight Outta Compton. But yeah, anyway, they're showing like It Takes a Nation of Millions vinyl in the back. You know what I'm saying? So both of them pulled from that, and they were kind of going back and forth, right? Where it was like, they make Straight Outta Compton, boom. They make People's Instinctive
Travis.
Yeah, and it's like, I think with the Low End Theory, they polished up the quality, and I think that the response from the Low End Theory was the Chronic.
Mike, that's great contextualization. It's something I never thought about because timeline-wise, it adds up. Straight Outta Compton, People Instinctive Travel, Niggas for Life, Low End Theory, then Niggas for Life.
Yeah.
You can see the response to it in
Midnight Marauders, you know what I mean? After the Chronic.
Marauders and Doggy Style.
Yeah.
Right.
They were being made at the same time. I think Midnight Marauders might have been more of a response to the Chronic.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No. I can see Q-Tip production wise for where he was and what he knew, because here's the thing. He's somebody like Dre, like he's an old head, so he's playing the old shit. That's what the Low End Theory is. The Low End Theory, Q-Tip is the first hip hop guy that took the old shit that the people from his era listened to, and he made it into some rap shit. That's why it's so important. He took the jazz and the blues and the soul influence from a previous era. He bought it. He made it current. He made it dope and made it current.
It was a few people who did it, but he did it to the best, I think.
No, Mike, those people was playing. He was immersed in it, and you can hear the difference in the immersion. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, oh, no, when you hear Dr. Dre on the Chronic, it's like, and if you know Niggas for Life, it's like, no, that nigga was making beats every day. You can't tell me no different. You can hear the immersion from the difference in the quality and the level that these people hit when they become immersed in it to a depth. You know what I'm saying? Because they're still young when this going on.
Now, listen, I would love to see Q-Tip and Dr. Dre do something just, on some fun shit. But, when Dr. Dre gets serious, man, like, it's really tough to see him in the verses. He could dig.
Production-wise, is one of the few producers that has enough tracks to pull from that are relevant and classic enough to make this viable.
Yeah.
Because he's got it. Because just his Tribe catalog, you can get about 12 to 15 records off of that that's classic. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
And he's been around, and, even with the work that he's done with Kanye and, Watch the Throne and stuff like that, he could really pull off something.
Well, Mike, he gets to play that classic East Coast shit, too, because, Mike, he can put on One Love and give up the goods.
And he can play Janet Jackson Got Till It's Gone type stuff.
That's going to be
hard, honestly, too. If there is somebody out there for Dre, it more than likely would be Q-Tip. And he could go out there and do it. I don't know how people feel about Vibrant thing like that, but he could just do shit like that if he wanted to.
Hey, Mike, beat-wise, he should do Breathe and Stop if we're talking live. Just beat-wise. Vibrant thing's a better song. Breathe and Stop probably be better live. But you want to know what, Mike? I think one of the worst things, and it's kind of funny about to say this, you know what happened to Q-Tip as a producer and how we remember him, Mike? You want to know what happened? Jay Dilla happened.
Jay Dilla happened, and I also think that back then he didn't take enough credit. Those tracks were saying produced by a Tribe Called Quest. He didn't go out there and put his name on things like he probably should have.
Maybe. I mean, we know what we know now. We know what we know now, Mike, but really when it comes down to it, it was the Dilla thing, because here's the reality of the matter. Dilla did what Q-Tip was doing, and he did it better because he obviously was listening to Q-Tip.
But at the same time, though, like, you know, and I think that's admirable of Q-Tip, too, to have a, you know, somebody that you're mentoring that's that talented and you let them flourish. A lot of bigger producers will hold you under and use your shit. Like people accuse Dr. Dre doing with Daz or something. You know what I mean?
I was thinking Devontae with Timberland in the Basement Crew.
Okay, something like that.
Yep.
So, you know, I think that's admirable, the fact that, you know, he was able to actually really show the love that, you know, Dilla needed so he could go out there and do what he did.
Well, Mike, he heard it.
Yeah,
you can't deny what you hear.
Nah, but he could have taken credit for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
just never struck you as that type of guy. That was what was so beautiful about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was never that dude. You know what I'm saying?
LP like, says what I said. And you know what? Unfortunately, man, LP said exactly, Mike. We didn't know until years later. We thought it was Ali. I gave Ali credit for making all that Tribe stuff growing up. And I had no idea that Q-Tip was doing all that stuff. And, you know, and I probably would have looked at Q-Tip a lot differently if I would have known that he was the producer of People's Instinctive, The Low End Theory, and Midnight Marauders. I had no idea.
Well, Mike, actually, you want to know what? When he did One Love, that's when I kind of got put on to it. Like, the track-wise. Like, if you listen to the track, it sounded kind of like the way that the beat... Mike, you know when they're talking about how he helped Havoc with the drums on the Infamous, in terms of putting the Infamous together, he came back and repatterned some things, and he did give up the goods. When you're listening to how Q-Tip shit is hitting the speakers in terms of when it reverbs, Mike, and you're right about this, it's that headphone reverb where it comes through at that peak point of headphones for it to boom, 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 boom. Mike, that's very Midnight Marauders-ish is what I was thinking when I heard One Love. It sounds like a beat that got made during Midnight Marauders, and that's why I was like, well, hold on, who's really producing what? Because if Q-Tip did this beat, well, that sounds like Midnight Marauders.
It feels like only inside people knew at that time, and people who really, really listen like that, you know, and it's a shame because that's some of the best produced stuff of its era.
Right.
Award Tour is one of the best produced songs of the 90s, period. I think Electric Relaxation is one of the best produced hip-hop songs of the 90s, period.
Mike, Award Tour is a borderline top 10 hip-hop song all time to me. Award Tour is that great from beginning to end. That's a special verse. That's a special beat. That's a special hook. That's a special moment.
Mm-hmm. And then he comes in there with that verse. The first, like, come on, man.
Because you want to know what's special about that song? Is the fact that what's special about the song is the fact that the song is special. There's nothing special going on except for the record. The beat is special. Q-Tip special. The hook special. The vibe special, because it's one of those records you can bob your head to it in your car, but you can dance to it in the club. But you feel the words of the song as well, too. It's motivational. It's doing a few different things. It's one of the best rap songs ever.
The man made lyrics to go. And he made Butter for Fife. Like, Butter's beautiful. Like, I listened to the Low End Theory and all. Like, that shit does not sound like it came out in 1991. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it does not sound 31 years old.
Ahead of the curve.
Very much so.
Mike, where do you have the Low End Theory all time? Hip-hop album. Where do you think of it? Is it a top 10 album, Ian?
For me personally. Now, if somebody doesn't have it there, I'm fine with that. But yeah, for me personally, but I'm a Tribe fan.
Right. Objectively, where do you have it, though? The Low End Theory.
It's got to be at least top 15. Impact and, you know what I'm saying, just that whole fusion of hip-hop and jazz, what it created. And it created some level of a subgenre where other artists were able to jump in that lane, from the Roots to Common and, you know, Mos Def, Talib. they were able to take that lane and go on. Like when everybody was getting compared to Tribe, it was because of the Low End Theory's blueprint.
So, Mike, I would agree with you. I think that objectively speaking, top 15 rap album, and I'm going to piggyback more off what you said, because everything that you're saying is accurate. The space that the Roots, Common, Mos, Talib, the space that they exist in, that space exists because of Low End Theory. Mike, I'm going to take it a step further, Mike. The space that
D'Angelo, yeah.
Maxwell.
The whole Soul Aquarium movie.
But I do exist in is based on the Low End Theory
Outkast.
too. That's why it is probably the most important and influential hip hop album ever that doesn't get discussed.
It doesn't. And again, I think people like Q-Tip and Pharrell and Chad as well are such humble people that a lot of their greatness doesn't get acknowledged. And, and I got to give Mr. West, Mr. Kanye West, credit for not allowing that shit to happen to him. He said, from day one, I'm going to let you guys know how great I am.
Q-Tip or the Neptunes, Mike?
I think the Neptunes just on a versatility level. I don't know. That's hard for me. I'm big fans of both. This is what I'm about to say. When it comes to if it comes to making an album, I think Q-Tip's gonna be could make albums better than them. He's proven to do that. But the only thing with Q-Tip is the fact that you're not sure if this thing's ever gonna come out. We're still waiting on The Last Zulu for almost 10 years, it feels like. But the Neptunes, they have proven that they can crank out music for a lot of people at a large amount at different times. But see, the thing is, we're talking about two people versus one. Mike, that's the unfair part.
No, Mike, I'm going to give you a better question. You're an artist still. You're on your 5th album. Who are you calling?
Probably calling the Neptunes. I need it to come out. That's my only thing. And I love Q-Tip and Dre. Same thing. Like, you could work with those guys and the songs will never see the light of day. I mean, we see these pictures of Dr. Dre in the studio all the time and hearing no music. We just recently started hearing some music.
He be working.
I'm sure he is. But we're never going to hear it because they're such perfectionists that it's not going to come out the studio until they think it's perfect. I've heard Q-Tip say he hears Tribe's song. He don't listen to his own music, by the way. Good. But he goes out, and if he hears a Tribe song, he's sitting here thinking about how he could have made it better. Chris Lighty and them had to yank the albums out of his hand and tell him, like, look, it's done. We're taking this to get mastered. So.
Sounds about right. That's the guy I'm taking. Right.
Yeah. And we're never going to hear your album.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Give me that guy. That's what I'm saying. No. Like, give me that guy. You're telling me, give me the guy. You're like, I want my shit out. It's like, no. I want the best guy. Give me that guy. Give me the guy that you have to pry it out of his hands. Like he's like, no. You like, yeah, nigga. Yeah, I want that guy. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's the dude.
Well, on that note, man, I got to get up out of here. I know you probably got to get going, too. I mean, great conversation. It should be some new music coming Friday. Like I said earlier, we're not going to do the mock versus this Friday. It's going to be this Monday. We're working everything out with Rap Roundtable. But, yeah, man, hopefully we get an update on this versus thing and we can kind of delve into it a little bit more. I'm talking about that Eminem and Busta Rhymes, but looks like it's going to happen. And also with all this new music going on, looks like we're still not getting word of any Kendrick Lamar album. But am I surprised? No. And, it's crazy. We're going to get Eminem in a Versus before we get a Kendrick Lamar album. You guys understand that?
When you say that, Mike, there's really just not much I can say. There's not much I can say to that.
I don't think Kendrick's dropping this year.
That is pushing it, Mike.
Well, if Pusha T drops what he's about to drop, Kendrick ducks these years.
Well, hold on. Well, let's have a conversation, Mike, because I said last year, it's like, I don't want to see you ducking no great hip-hop year. All right. Now you just got done ducking a great Nas year. Mike,
KD3 is coming.
Classics in a year. Mike, so let me tell you what's happening right now. Oh, this year, early on, just based on the lineup, is shaping up to be better than last year. Because KD3 is coming, Mike.
Pusha T is actually coming.
God Don't Make Mistakes is coming.
That's coming.
Tana Talk 4 is coming.
And Benny's talking shit about it too.
Mike. And Benny talking shit.
Leroy Green said Kendrick gonna drop a secret album with nothing on it.
Mike, we've done already dropped Black Illuminati at the end of this year. We gonna get some smoke. It ain't like that track ain't fire and one of the best hip hop songs of last year. He's the only person that's making our top songs list that didn't drop an album, Mike. Everybody else on our top songs list dropped the album. That's what Black Illuminati is.
Yeah.
So Mike, you wanna know what that is? That's as heavy as competition gets, Mike. That's the type of competition Pac deal with, that Nas dealt with, Big dealt with, the Rakim dealt with, the KRS-One dealt with, that all the other guys that this guy get mentioned with, dealt with.
You think Jay gonna drop something?
Mike, and at least for a year, all of those guys came out on top at least once. So he need to come.
The Butch is coming. Like Dark Matter just said, the Butch is coming.
Mike, when I told you, Mike, every tag and post that I see from Benny, it's tagging the Derringer and the Alchemist.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, I don't need to hear shit else.
No, Benny has heard what the critics have said about, burden of proof.
Oh, you said Derringer and Alchemist? There we go.
Yeah.
That's a whole, Mike, if Derringer and Alchemist are handling his project and nobody else, that's a problem for everybody else. That's a problem for Nas. That's a problem for Push, because he's like that too.
Oh, we can't forget these. Supreme Clientele 2's coming. Leroy Green says the game's coming too. So Kung Fu Kenny, it ain't gonna be one of those 2017s, man.
Mike, he ain't never dropped in a year like it's about to happen.
He's not gonna drop. He's not. It's a different game.
Taking him out the top, Mike. I ain't even just Mike. If he don't drop this year, I ain't taking him out of top 10. I'm taking him out of top 20 if he don't drop this year. Taking them all the way out.
That might be an overreaction, but
no, it's not, Mike. This rap shit, nigga. Like
rap is rap, right? You know,
right. What, like just because you were the biggest star in the game, you don't get to metamorphosize or change what it is. This the comp.
Well, this is the thing,
though. Deal with this comp. No.
What Cube say?
Competition. You're gonna deal with this competition in this rap shit because it's rap.
I mean, look.
You ain't gonna duck no competition. That's heavy Benny, Nas, Conway, Gibbs, Pusha.
What I was gonna say is, man, it's like
calm. You got calm. Let's go.
What I was gonna say, Coop, for anybody who feels like they're the best or wants to be the best, you should relish in this. You should want to be around the fact. You should be happy that the game, in some senses, caught up with you, right? You know what I mean? Like Michael Jordan wouldn't sit there and just, you know what, the NBA's gotten better. Let me sit out.
Mike, listen.
Kobe Bryant wouldn't do that.
This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about competition. You think Benny and Pusha T didn't hear KD2 and Magic? Yeah. And you think they didn't hear Nas on Magic say KD3 on the way? And what did they say about their projects?
It's on the way.
I got the album of the year coming.
Yeah.
They know who he is. They looked up to him. And they still like, no, but my shit.
DeCarlo says, don't forget Boldy James. Yes. Someone says add Ransom to the conversation.
Boldy's going to drop a top 10 album if he drops, because he does it every year, it seems like.
Add Ransom to the conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, man, you should want this. And Kendrick, man, I don't know. I just don't see it coming.
Mike, can I tell you something for real?
Uh-huh.
There ain't been this many dope MCs outside in a minute. Bring your ass outside.
Let's look at the years that he dropped.
Like Mike, when I mean these guys all sound great right now. Nas don't sound good, he sound great. Conway don't sound good, he sound great. Benny sound great. Gibbs sound great. Kiss sound great. Mike, we heard Ghost once last year. What did he sound? He sound great.
Yeah.
Outside. You gotta come play.
You know what? Is it crazy to say this might be the best pool of MCing all around we've seen since the 90s? I'm trying to pinpoint a time when all the people that everybody's naming and the way people sound right now.
Mike feels very 96-ish.
Yeah.
Can I think about 96, Mike? Nas, Tupac.
Kendrick, you should want this.
Black Thought, Redman. Lauryn Hill,
Yeah.
Big Boy, Andre, Bun B, Pimp C. Yeah.
K
96.
Thompson
It's
said
very
y'all are
96 -ish
comparing
going on.
K Dot to bottom
96.
tier rappers. Yeah. K Thompson says y'all are comparing K Dot to bottom tier rappers.
Bottom tier rappers.
Why don't
Ooh.
they drop when Kendrick drops? Look,
Why don't you drop what Kendrick dropped?
because he ain't dropped in 5 years.
How about this? Why don't he drop when they drop? Seeing how everybody we naming them made about 3, 4, 5, 6 albums since he last dropped. How about he drop?
Guess who else is rapping now? Jay Electronica's actually rapping now.
Jay Electronica's been active, Mike. We need to add him to the list.
Jay Electronica has been active, man.
Mike, he released an album and then he followed up an album the following year by working and doing verses that were all high quality. He didn't have a bad moment last year or a misstep. He is making the top 20 verses.
Yeah.
He almost made it twice. I gotta go check the damn list.
I think he did make it twice.
He did make it twice.
I think he made it twice, yeah.
Yeah,
West Side and on Donda, yeah.
I told you that he had the best verse on Control, not Kendrick. Outside, Mike. He needs to come outside. Ain't nobody trying to hear what you're going through because this is hip hop. Outside. Because here's the thing: if you're going through something, you want to know what we do. You want to know why hip hop was created to express what you're going through. Outside. Outside.
And on that note, we're out.